very exciting to be on the cover of Mixmag. I must say, it's obviously, you know, it's probably the best dance magazine in our home country, and whilst we've had covers in most of the other countries that we play in, to get something in the UK is always very special. And I think the thing that's really exciting about it is the nature of the piece. It's a lot broader and a lot more interesting, I think, than a lot of features that we've been involved with before, so it's doubly great.
It's weird, as an artist you try and just sort of get on with it and not to sort of be too external about it, but we had to think about what we wanted to put across in terms of, you know, what our influences are, the things that we like, you know, just to sort of explain a bit more about who we are really to the public, and maybe a few other things that they don't know about us, rather than, you know, just sort of talking about our schedule or something a bit more mundane like that, which is interesting. It's interesting to a point, but I think it's, you know, it's interesting for people to read more about a bit more about the people who are behind the music, I guess. That's what I would want to do if I enjoyed the music. I'd want to find out a bit more about the people who made it, and I think that's what the article does.
When there's a blank sheet of paper, literally, or 10 blank sheets of paper, there's so many things that you could write about and get involved, and so many people you could interview. But I think it's ended up being a nice mix.
I mean, I really enjoyed doing the interview with the Pet Shop Boys, particularly because, you know, they're sort of a big influence for me personally, and I think they're, you know, very rounded, interesting musicians who've kind of, you know, they don't do exactly the same thing as us by any means, but in terms of the sentiment behind what they do, they sort of try and be true to themselves. They're not heavily A&R'd by a record label, for example. They do their own thing. They pick who they work with, and that's kind of the path we've taken as well, rather than having sort of big record company executives pushing us together with other artists and doing it that way. So I think that was a great thing to take part in from my perspective from the whole thing, yeah.
And the other lovely thing about having some kind of editorial input into it is that you can make sure you're not being misquoted,
yeah,
which is actually incredibly common. Most people doing interviews, unless they're recording it, they're just making notes, or even if they are recording it, they might be making notes when they're listening back. And so sometimes you end up saying the most stupid things, and so it was nice to be able to correct a few, you know, little glaring errors and make sure that we sound like we're sensible, which is rare.
I've lived in Hackney for 10 years now, and I really like this area. There's a lot of exciting things happening here, and some really cool restaurants and bars opening up. And I think this venue is another one on that list, really. And it's nice to play in a venue like this, which is quite a gritty venue, and it's got a bit of a vibe to it. And the sound seems really good out there, from what I've heard, and so that's exciting as well.
But it's always nice doing shows of different sizes. To be honest, they've all got their plus points and minus points, and we've been doing a lot of big shows in big arenas and theatres with the whole full production, and this is just a lot more basic. It's just us and some music and some very cheery people by the sounds of it. The CD we put on the front of the magazine is called The United Colours of Anjuna Beats, and it's kind of a showcase of Anjuna Deep and Anjuna Beats. Some of our favourite tracks from the last few months, and some that haven't come out yet. So I think it gives a really good flavour of what the label's all about.
When we release an Anjuna Beats volume compilation, we always feel this sort of sense of pressure, whereas doing a cover mount CD is kind of completely free reign, which is really nice.
After this party, we're off to do Dance Valley tomorrow in Holland, and we've got a gig in Ireland on Sunday. Then next week we do Mallorca, Ibiza, and then we scoot to Buenos Aires for a festival out there, which is great. It's one of our favourite places to go. And that kind of continues for the rest of the summer. It's kind of summer holiday places and summer festivals. And then as the sun starts to go down in the sky, we're going to start working on the next album. Later this year, Anjuna Beats Volume 10 comes out, which is yet another record we're putting out with 10 or some kind of anniversary in the title, but it seemed appropriate, since it is the 10th Anjuna Beats Volume CD that we've put out, to do something quite special. So we're digging deep and trawling wide and doing all the other things that we can do to make it as good as possible.
If I could give the magazine to someone to read, my mum.
Yeah, I think I'll give it to my mum as well, because she's kind of aware of what we do, but she's a bit old to come out, so she's not really seen the scale of it. So I think it'll give her a good introduction.